So this is episode 3 of our RevCode podcast. Josh, we were both talking and we decided that this was going to be a little bit of a different podcast, a little bit of different recording because we are making room for a special guest this weekend. We'll talk a little bit more on that towards the end of the podcast here. But during this podcast, we're going to both talk about what we're both doing, and we're going to try to make it a little bit shorter because we both have some people telling us it was a little bit hard to stay engaged throughout the whole thing because we originally made them about an hour long.
Yeah.
So let's get started. So we talked a little bit last time about what you're working on. You set some goals for yourself. Talk a little bit on those. Did you accomplish them, or did you hit any struggles? Talk about what you're working on.
Yeah. All right. So last week we brought up the things that we're working on, and what I have been currently working on is that event, that outdoor event that I have an idea for to bring to life, and I've been working on that a little bit. The most important thing for me to begin with was getting a location that fit this type of event that I wanted to have, and so that's kind of what I've been working on, is that search for the location. I brought up that I wanted to make it a somewhere where it was accessible to everyone in different parts of the valley, because I have friends in different parts of the valley that I want to invite to this. So I was looking more towards the Central Phoenix area. I was able to get in contact with a few Parks and Recs directors, and they were kind of just giving me the breakdown on what it really is to have an event, and it is a lot of planning for sure. Something that I didn't really expect. That it was, the idea. I didn't expect it to have so many layers to it. I didn't think it was that long of a process. I thought things would be a little bit easier. So when I kind of ran into those, and people started telling me, well, you have to have this, these are the requirements, these are the permits you have to have insurance involved, depending on the vending that you want to have. I got all the rules broken down to me, and I didn't necessarily hit a wall or anything like that where it was like, wow, okay, I don't think I can do this anymore. It just made it a little bit more, it made me have to think about more planning to make this a reality. So those are the things that I was working on, was being able to find a prime location for the event that I had, for the idea of this event that I had, getting in contact with those people, explaining to them what it is that I wanted to do and what it is that the whole event entails. And I got some responses. I got feedback. I got a little bit of help, and now it's kind of doing the groundwork myself. It's making sure that everything in the itinerary for this event coincides with all the rules that the parks ask for public events like this. But yeah, I felt like I made a little bit of progress. I definitely got some I wouldn't say harsh news, but probably some real news, some real facts about what it is and what it takes to do something like this. So I felt like I moved along a little bit to find myself now that I need to work a little bit harder in making this actually happen.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we were talking about it a little bit earlier today, and you definitely got, you stumbled upon some things that were definitely unexpected. Because when you were originally planning for this, you had no idea about the different permits that were involved and just different rules. And I think one of the things you mentioned to me that you had to plan like months in advance and stuff like that, and you're planning to do it like this month. So I could see how that's frustrating. One thing that we did talk about last time was you reaching out to vendors and stuff like that. Did you do any of that?
I hit up one person specifically that we talked about. I haven't really focused on approaching anybody just yet, because in my mind I was thinking, okay, what should I do first? Should I find the location first, and then once I have the location, hit up all the vendors? So I was kind of caught in between. I decided to spend a little bit more time in getting familiar with the locations that I wanted. The person that I did hit up though was the owner of that store Manners that I've been telling you about recently. You know, I was able to click up with him. He's a real good guy. You know, he just opened the lifestyle boutique out there in Phoenix. You know, me and him built a little bit of a relationship in the short time that we've known each other. You know, I basically explained to him a little bit what I'm about and what I want to do eventually later on in life, which is something similar to what he has. So he understood that. He, you know, he's a real cool guy, and I let him know about him being a part of this event, where it's like he's somewhat of vending, but having just mainly his own product from his line of his stores there, and be present there. That way, you know, he gets a little bit more exposure. I didn't explain to him in too much in detail. I wanted to speak to him more in person, but I did leave him a message about what it would entail. So, you know, hopefully I'll get a response from that. And from here on forward, now that I have a little bit more information on the locations, I think it's easier for me to be like, okay, this is what I need from these people, from these vendors. Now I know what to explain to them when I'm explaining them what the event is all about. So I think this coming week I'll take advantage of doing that a little bit more, is approaching some businesses, the people that I had in mind.
Have you picked a location yet? Are you still kind of contemplating on the different locations?
Well, I have a few options. My number one would be the Margaret T. Hance Park, which is located in it's pretty close to downtown Phoenix. It's on Central. It's right off the freeway. I feel like it's a really good location, not only because it's central, like I said, to everybody. It has a pretty cool view towards the afternoon, which is the timing of this event. I feel like the space is big enough to have as many people as we'd expect to be there. So I feel like that the Margaret T. Hance Park, which is I don't know if people are familiar with it, but it's the park that's right above the tunnel when you pass the 10 freeway. Not a lot of people know that, but it is it's what's on the top level of the tunnel passing the freeway.
Right, it's right when you exit on the HOV lane, right, on 3rd Ave.
On 3rd Ave, exactly.
I pass by there every single day. I've never been there though, like on the actual park. I just drive by there every day. It looks nice from the view that I have on, at the light on 3rd Ave, but I've never actually been there.
Yeah, and I mean, and same for me. I mean, that was my exit that I got off on every day to go to school, and I never once visited or had, even the thought to see what it was about until I came up with this idea. I started looking for parks, and I came upon this one just by walking. I didn't even know it was really a park, and I didn't know what that it was that park that I see every time I exit off the freeway. I didn't know it was that one. So, I happened to stumble upon that one, and I feel like that one's a great location, as well as another park there near Phoenix, and Encanto Park. Encanto Park is a really cool spot, I feel like, as well. It's a little bit more west of Phoenix. And then the last option that I had is the first place that I had the idea to have this at, which would be in Tolleson at Veterans Park.
Right. That's a good location. But at the same time, I think any of them would be pretty good as well. As far as like advice, what I would recommend is doing the one that has the less requirements. I mean, I don't know how much you know a little bit more about how the requirements differ from city to city, but I would definitely focus on one that, especially because this is your first event and you're just starting now, I would focus on whatever asks for the least from you to be able to do something like this, you know what I mean? And then we also talked a little bit on some alternatives and stuff like that, but you did say that you want to focus on this and you want to make it happen, regardless of the different struggles and setbacks that you've kind of encountered lately. But then so it doesn't become too hard and you don't end up, prolonging this freaking 3 months, 6 months from now. I would recommend you to, do something, pick a park that has the less requirements. Obviously consciously, right? Not just picking any shitty park, but something that's going to work well and make things a little bit easier for you.
Yeah. I think it gets back to, what we've discussed earlier, is just keeping things simple. And, it is my first go around at having something like this. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be extravagant. We're not getting away from I'm not getting away from putting on a good event, but at the same time, just making things easier obviously helps out too.
Yeah. Is there any like noteworthy struggle that's been really, really hard?
Can you rephrase that a little bit? I don't know what you
Like
what you meant.
one of those struggles that have like stood out the most or something like that. Just something that you're really struggling with that
Okay.
I don't know if there is or not. You might not really have that many struggles, but
Yeah,
kind of wondering.
not anything to the point where it's made me want to give up on this. There's a lot of just steps that you have to go through. You have to play the game. You have to because they ask so many requirements for this certain thing that I want to do. It's just like, it's a little bit frustrating, but there's not too many obstacles that I have faced trying to do this that just turn me off from wanting to do it. Probably one of the main things is just being more disciplined myself and following a routine and being like, okay, this part of the day I'm going to take care of calling the parks. This part of the day I'm going to take care of calling the businesses that I want involved. This part of the day I'm going to spend time focusing on what movie, what activities, what music I want to have. So probably just being a little bit more disciplined in getting more things done is probably the thing that I've had most struggles with, is just finding a way to be more efficient towards getting this done, which comes with everything. It's so easy to just slack off and find other things to do. There's a lot of distractions at home. One thing that I recommend, while you're working on something, is to be away from home. You'll get so distracted with anything around your house. Go outdoors, go to the library, go somewhere else that you're not used to. That way, you're sitting there focusing on what you're working on.
Yeah, I completely agree. Leaving the house does a lot of things, especially when you can work from anywhere, right? Which is really cool, when you can get stuff done from pretty much anywhere, where library, whether it's a Starbucks, a coffee shop, whatever it is. It gets you a little bit more focused, a different scene. You can, set yourself to do specific things. You can write specific goals for yourself for the day to get them done. And you're not distracted by the everyday things, because a lot of times our mind and our body gets used to our home and our surrounding. That's like, oh, okay, yesterday I took a nap right around this time and my bed's right here, so you know what I mean?
I'm just gonna take a quick little 15. It turns into like 2 hours. You wake up and you don't even know what's going on.
Exactly.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, man. So our mind and our body just gets so accustomed and so, used to our surroundings and our environment that it's easy to do those kinds of things. You know what I mean? It's easy to slack off. It's easy to take that nap. It's easy to just, just get distracted by different things. But yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more on discipline towards the end of the podcast. Just to recap on what you're saying, you hit up the parks, you got some unexpected news from them, but you're gonna keep on going, man, and push forward pretty much.
For sure. I did. There was one gentleman in particular, his name is Roman, where he gave me some advice on what to do, because he himself, he works for Margaret T. Hans Park. He works in that event department, so he does events himself. So he was just giving me a little bit of pointers. He did send me a couple applications that I have to fill out via email, and got some help. So I'm still optimistic about this. Ready to take on anything that I have to really make this real, man. Because I feel like it's just something cool and something that people could have fun at.
Yeah, man, definitely. And I'm excited for you. I'm happy. Like I said, I'm excited, but at the same time, I do want you to just keep your eyes open. I'm not saying right now, but in the future, you need to, really be able to understand when it will still be worth it to do it and when it just won't make sense anymore. But I'm not saying you're at that point. Like I said, I'm excited for you, but just kind of keep your eyes open and heart open to, to be able to realize if you ever encounter that situation.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just being more about being realistic, and not chasing something that is not worth it, for sure. And I think maybe even along the way, if I don't end up doing exactly this, I feel like I might get to a point where it's like, okay, this didn't really work out, but along the way I learned that I could do this, and it could just turn into a whole other thing, for sure. So
absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Don't be attached to what it has to look like. It's something I've always learned, and don't be attached to what success looks like. Kind of just ride the ride, man.
Exactly. What about yourself? What do you have any updates as far as our previous conversations with the project you're working on, the credit project? Have you run into any obstacles? Have you seen any progress in the last maybe just week that we've last talked about it?
Yeah, so I've seen on I've gotten some pretty good progress done. Now I am focusing, especially right now, I'm really focusing on the product, make sure it's a good product that people are going to enjoy and relate to, like we were talking about yesterday, the experience that the customer is going to receive. And, I've really been focusing on that. So I got pretty much done what I would call a prototype of this, credit build or credit repair video course that I want to put together. And I got a really good prototype as far as content and stuff like that. I do, before I move forward to design, I want to get in touch with several people that would be in my target market and kind of expose the content to them and see how they take it, because just because I think it's good right now doesn't mean that it's going to relate to them. So you're one of the people that I wanted to show this to. We didn't get a chance to do it earlier today, but hopefully, we'll get a chance to do this here soon, where we can, I want to kind of show them and have them go through this course and just make sure that I'm on the right track so that they're able to relate to the course and that it's going to be beneficial to them and they're going to, get some real value from it, because that's what I'm really focusing on, and that's what I really want. Right now I'm forgetting about everything else, and I really want to focus on the product, make sure it's good value for people and they can benefit from it. And then from then on, I'm going to move on to design and then marketing.
Cool. I mean, it's definitely important that that what you're creating resonates with people. Like you said, just because you think it all sounds good and it looks good doesn't mean that it will exactly do the same for other people.
Yeah, it's important to be able to realize that, because a lot of creators, and you see this a lot in the tech world, where the developers, they fall so in love with the product that when they finish and they have this kick-ass product, they realize that nobody wants it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it happens a lot. That's one of the reasons why a lot of these tech companies fail. And I mean, they get funded millions and millions of dollars and they still fail. So it's not about the money. It's, it's about really making sure that the customers resonate with the product and that they need it. So my next step from here is definitely reaching out to some of those people in my target market and kind of get their feedback on it. You're one of those people that I want to get with. You just, we weren't able to do it today, but, hopefully we'll get on that pretty soon. And then I got a few other people on a list that I kind of want to expose this to and get their feedback and just make sure that I'm on the right track.
For sure, man. For sure. Sounds good. That's one thing that I think I've learned a little bit more from you is just getting out there and explaining to people what you have going on, kind of like a little bit of prototype, and see what people think about, what you're doing. And I think it helps in that process of creating.
Absolutely, man, because at the end of the day, without validation, you don't have anything. You can spend all the time on creating this kick-ass experience and whatever you want, but at the end of the day, if nobody wants it and nobody's really into it, then it means nothing. You know what I mean? You have no customers. You're your only customer, and you're going to waste a lot of time and money, and it's just not going to be worth it. That's why when you were coming up with this, with your idea with the event, I said reach out to people, man, because you want to make sure that people really want it, and you don't want to spend all this time and possibly money, setting this up and then hit them up about it and then nobody goes. It's going to be a real disappointment, and, it's better to have a disappointment than to spend all that money, and, it's better to have the disappointment early on before you spend that money and time. You know what I mean? So validation is definitely key. You want to make sure there's a market for what you want to do.
For sure. I mean, it definitely helped me out in the beginning stages of this by you telling me that.
And then as far as struggles, you asked me about struggles. The struggle that I've been facing is just really focusing, because I get to a point where, like, okay, I got done, I got a product done, but, my struggle has been just really focusing on making it a good experience with people. So that's why I really want to take that step to get the feedback first, to make sure I'm on the right track, because I might not be on the right track. You know what I mean? It's always a possibility, so I want to get that out of the way. So, staying on that and really getting that feedback and make sure that I am providing value, because that is my main goal.
Yeah, cool. I mean, it doesn't sound like you've had too many roadblocks in continuing your efforts to make this happen. So that's good for you.
Yeah, I mean, the real roadblocks are the same ones that I talked about last time. That it's the technical stuff, learning just the different designing, methods and learning how to set different technical things up, whether it's a website, whether it's a, social media, just different things that, you really have to learn. It has a little bit of a learning curve, but once you learn it becomes pretty simple, or you start moving a little bit faster. You're not going to master it, but it gets you moving to the next step. So it's just kind of working through those obstacles when you're learning, because once you learn it, that's what it is. But it's really easy to kind of get let down when it's hard and you don't know how to do something. So you just got to remind yourself to kind of keep pushing through the learning curve and, move forward after that.
Cool. I know we had one more thing that we really wanted to cover.
Yeah, well, we had a couple things. If you don't mind, I'll bring them up. So one thing that we both kind of been having people hit us up, I think is really cool that people have been following us. We've got some people watching the podcast and, just kind of learning new things and they're following the Instagram page, which is really, really cool. And then, but I've got a lot of people, I mean, at least a handful of people who like texted me on my personal phone number and, they're like, Kevin, what is RepCool? Like, what is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know you said you got a little bit of that as well. So
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so let's shed a little bit of light on this.
First of all, shout out to those people who follow us back on the Instagram. Shout out to those people who watch and listen to our first couple episodes. Thank you guys very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you a lot. It's really, it's really cool because, we kind of decided that the main objective of this was kind of for ourselves, but it's really cool to see people following along and, and watching and learning some new things and, getting some value out of this. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, so and I think you, Kevin, caught me off guard a little bit when, you decided to go ahead and make it public. I thought we were going to just try and do a little bit of a trial and error type of thing and then go public, but you went for it. I was a little bit nervous about what people would think, but so far it's been cool. I don't think anybody has much room to hate on it because there's not much that we're really doing except for, just trying to encourage ourselves and hopefully encourage other people.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what other people think. You know what I mean? But it's funny that, that you said that you thought we were going to kind of do a try and error first. And no, man, you kind of just got to go for it. You know what I mean? It's not going to be perfect. I'm sure we're going to improve a lot, but you kind of just got to go for it and improve every day a little by little. That's really the key to it, because if just, and this might be good advice for your event, man. If you stay too much on the planning side, you won't ever get to the action.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
For sure.
it's really important, man, to kind of just take the plunge. And since this was kind of, even nobody else benefited from it, which, a lot of people are. But even if they didn't, for us, it was going to be really good. You know what I mean? So that's one of the reasons why I kind of just went for it and made it public for everyone. But then at the same time, I really, in my whole journey over the past 5 years on this entrepreneurship journey and just personal development, man, I really wish there was someone that I could follow and see them going through the struggle. You know what I mean? You see all these success stories and all that stuff, but you don't really get to be part of the struggle and the real obstacles that they face. So I think that's one of the coolest things. And one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this and make it public and help other people is because I know for myself that I really wish that I had, that I followed someone like that and I got to see them, reach success from the bottom. I got to see them start from the bottom. And sometimes we get to see it with artists, because I remember, man, I've been following J. Cole, man, since the beginning, and it's really cool to see where he's at now. But we don't really get to see that much with with entrepreneurs and people doing stuff in business.
Especially people that we actually know. Okay, we do hear all these success stories. Everything is possible for sure, but I think it makes it more real that people actually know us. People know who we really are, and hopefully, obviously, our goals are to reach the highest level of performance that we can. But as of right now, we're working really hard to try to make things a reality, man. And I think it'll be cool when we get to that level to kind of look back and to have people know that, hey, remember when we started this? Look where we're at now. So I definitely applaud you for coming up with the this little segment for us to have, for not only to remind ourselves where we're at and where we're going, but to hopefully help out other people as well on the same journey.
Yeah, man, I really want people to know that it's possible. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to be, big. You don't have to have
smart, you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, but not the smart that people think. It's not just because you didn't have straight A's in high school or whatever. Honestly, it doesn't really mean that much. It doesn't really mean that much. It's really just having the drive and the passion to really improve yourself. That's what's going to get you going, and you're going to learn along the way, and you're going to become smarter along the way. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Nobody starts at the top, and the people that do, they don't get very much higher. You know what I mean? So I like I said, it could be anyone. I want everyone to know that it's possible, and that's why I wanted to make it public, because even over the last 5 years, I made a lot of improvements, and being able to, if I was able to show that publicly, I think it would be pretty cool. But from this moment forward, I really want to make people see or believe that it's possible. You know what I mean? That anyone can really do and follow their dreams. Because I think it's important. You know what I mean? It's really important for sure.
Most definitely, man. And kind of back to a little bit what we were talking about. Just it's cool to see the reaction in the little time that we've done this. That people are asking questions about what are you guys doing? What is this? I think it's cool that people are interested, and we'll see how far we can get.
Yeah, man, it's really cool, because something we don't realize is that everybody wants to improve themselves. Everybody wants to become a better person. Everybody has dreams. Everybody has goals, and it can be a really, really lonely road and journey. And just to know that there's someone there who's already going through it, it could make things easier, and it can make it feel less lonely, and know that you're not alone on this journey, because we all want to improve ourselves, but we don't really want to talk about it that much. You know what I mean? So it can feel lonely, and people, a lot of times people don't really understand what you're doing. They don't get it. They don't believe in it. And I really want to be, I want this to be that, that reinforcement that, you're on the right track and you can do it. You know, it's possible. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't, because that's bullshit.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I think can't say it enough about how you know, we don't have people, like real people that we feel like we can actually know that have gone through the journey from beginning to, you know, success. So
Exactly.
It's reassuring for us. I hope it's reassuring for other people as well.
Yeah. All right, man. So let's move on a little bit. Let's talk about discipline, because I think it's something that we've both kind of been struggling with as far as like daily routines and stuff like that. I've gotten a little bit better on it because I've been pushing myself, but it's still not easy, and it's still, you know, it's not perfect. And like you said, you really need to get in the habit of doing things every day, and, you know, just having that routine, which is super important. So what are your thoughts on that? What are you going through? Explain to me a little bit.
Well, I mean, it has a little bit to do with not just being disciplined in this area, which would be, you know, taking care of all the things that I need to for this project, but in general, in life, I think it's important to be disciplined. It just makes you a more efficient person. You get a lot more things done. You know, at first, it's hard to create a good, efficient routine. You know, you don't want to be repetitive and make things boring, obviously, but there has to be some type of routine, some type of order that you follow, you know, that will make up your day, and that will make your day efficient and, you know, and help you move forward. So I think that's just something that I struggle with in my everyday life, and I feel like a lot of people do. And that's one of the biggest things that separates people who get things done and people who don't get things done. It's just being disciplined. And, you know, when you're on, like you bring up quite often, when you're on this journey kind of alone, being self-motivated and making yourself disciplined can be very hard at times without other people helping you to push forward. It's, you know, you're doing a lot of things on your own, and it's hard to get distracted. So it's something that I face every day. It's something that I try to work on, you know, for the most part every day. But, you know, it affects me in my personal life. It affects me in wanting to create. So I feel like just being able to get down to it and make myself a more disciplined person will help me achieve my goals a little bit better.
No, definitely, man. I'm a strong believer that discipline is one of the keys to success. And it's funny how you mentioned that, you know, you don't want to have a routine where it's boring. And when I was creating a routine for myself, I thought the same thing. I mean, you obviously don't want to create a boring, you know, you want to make things still fun and adventurous. But this is what I learned. I learned that it's not boring because, for the simple fact that you are designing your own life, your own routine, right? The reason why it becomes boring is because you don't design it. You know, usually people that fall under a routine is because, you know, they work a 9 to 5, they work a normal corporate job, and, you know, they got kids, whatever it is, right? But society or other people are the ones who design their life. They don't design it for themselves. So when you design your own life, it is not boring. You know, you doing the same things every day is not boring because you're doing the same shit that you love. You know what I mean? Now, you still have to have discipline to do it every day. Don't get me wrong, but it's not boring because you're doing what you love and you're doing it because you're trying to become a better person. There's a big difference between that and then doing it because of your job, doing it because of corporate America, because of society. I mean, there's a huge difference. So I love routine. It's great. You know, I wake up at 5 a.m. every single morning. I eat my breakfast. I mean, I love my routine, man, and I love it because I designed it for myself. You know what I mean? And when I was doing this, you know, I had that same mentality that I didn't want to make it boring, but it's bullshit. What's boring is fucking procrastinating and taking those naps that are fucking dumb. You know what I mean? That's what's boring, bro. You know, but when you push yourself, and it's hard at first, but once you get past the first couple weeks, you know, you feel more alive, you feel better energy. It's better, man.
I hear that.
It's not boring.
I hear that, man. It's like, you know, I've had instances where it's like I wake up on a Monday and I have a set schedule for the day, and I get through the day and I'm like, man, Mondays aren't so bad when you're actually doing shit that you want to do and that you like to do. You know what I mean? But when you wake up and you don't have anything planned, you're like, okay, I woke up in the middle of the day. Where do I start now? The day's gone. That's the stuff that definitely gets boring and holds you down. But like you said, man, when you're able to create that kind of routine of the lifestyle that you want to live, it doesn't get boring. It won't get boring because you're not chasing something that you don't want to chase. You're going towards something that you want to do.
Exactly. Yeah, you're designing your ideal life. Don't create a routine that isn't your ideal life. You know what I mean? Don't do that because it's not going to work and you're going to feel miserable. You know, design your ideal life and live that life. And it, as hard as it sounds, it's really not. It's as easy as doing that because that's the easiest part. The other part is just, you know, hustling through the day and getting your work done. But designing your life, man, design it the way you want to live. Like, you know, really have a mental picture, create that mental picture. How do you want to live? Where do you want to wake up? What's the first thing you want to do in the mornings? Just creating your every hour of your life, or visualizing every hour of your life in your ideal life and your ideal lifestyle, and then just going out and living that life every single day. But that's the key. You got to do it every single day, or it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you know I mean? It won't be worth shit.
Yeah, if you do it one day and one day yes, one day no, it's not going to happen. You're not going to get anywhere, and you're always going to be in that circle. You got to do it every single day. I don't care if it's a fucking weekend. You got to commit, man. You know, it's just part of that.
One of the biggest things I've learned myself is, you know, people use one of the biggest excuses that I hear from people is like, oh, it's Wednesday, I'm not going to start till it's Monday. You know, I definitely hate when people say that shit. It's like, what are you going to wait till Monday for? Like, just start right now. What is holding you back? I've learned to get away from that excuse. It's helped me when I feel like I'm stuck in a rut. You know, I'm just like, shake it off. I'm going to start, you know, refresh myself. I'm going to start doing this, what I got to do right now. I'm not going to wait till tomorrow. I'm not going to wait till the next day because other shit's not going to wait for you. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty dumb. And then another thing that I hear a lot of people saying is that, oh, I just need some motivation. I need to find a way to stay motivated every day. Like, yeah, I mean, you do in some sense, but then at the end of the day, motivation doesn't really mean anything. All motivation is, it gets you excited, you know, gives you excitement to get through the day, but then it doesn't mean anything without discipline. And what I mean by that is that you're motivated, you know, you watch a motivational video, motivational speech, whatever it is, whatever gets you motivated, because we all have different motives and what motivates us. But, you know, usually what happens after that, what it equates to is excitement. We're excited to get going and we're excited to do this. But when we don't, you know, after that excitement wears off, it kind of leads to a little bit of depression, you know, you kind of get down on yourself. You're like, oh, man. You know, I need some more motivation, right? But in reality, motivation is bullshit, man, because motivation doesn't get anything done. You know, it gets you going. Don't get me wrong. It's important to get you going, but it doesn't get anything done. It's discipline, commitment, strong habits. Those are the things that will get things done. You know what I mean? Motivation gets you started, brother, but other than that, it's bullshit. You know, it's the discipline, the commitment, the strong habits that are really going to get things done. And then something that I've kind of done for myself is to use those moments where I'm motivated and I pick, you know, one or two things that I'm going to commit to every single day, right? You know, one of those things that I've committed to in my life is to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning, you know, and eat breakfast. That's every single morning. And now that, you know, my little cousin is out of school, just because she's out of school doesn't mean that I'm going to stop doing that. You know, I'm committed to doing that every single day. And it's the little actions, you don't have to start right there. You can start with whatever you want, just the little actions. You commit to them every single day, then, in a couple months, you add another little action, then another one. You know what I mean? And that helps you with the momentum. It helps you keep going. And it creates that routine. It creates that discipline, the commitment, the strong habits, just like we talked about last time, man. A year from now, we'll really see who is really working. Everybody likes to talk. Everybody has dreams and goals, but the only difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do. I mean, it's what you do every single day and what you commit yourself to doing.
That's real. That's real, man. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah,
it's
man.
We've talked about this before. It's like we're not in it to just, get some shine right now. We're in it for the long run. We want we want this to last for the next 10, 20, 40, 50, even after us. The things that we do right now, that's what we're working for. We're not working to have cool things right now, but instead, really, really reap the benefits of the time that we're putting in to do this, to see that later on in our life and later on for other people in our family or whoever it's for, I feel like I see that in your eyes. I see that when you talk, and I hear it in your voice when you get started. It's like you're not playing around with this for sure.
Yeah, man, and it's just I like that you brought up your family and you brought up the different motives, and those are important. I've learned that those are really what helps you push through and create that discipline. When you just tell your mind, I have to do it no matter what, whether I feel like it or not. It's those things. It gets back to your why. You hear these motivational guys talk about it all the time, and it's true. If you don't really have a why, a real reason why you're doing this, it's going to be very easy to give up. And when you have a why, whether it's your family, your parents, just, the lifestyle that you want to live, your wife, your daughter, whatever it is, man, you got to remind yourself every time why you're doing it. I used to carry around a little note card where I would write why I'm doing this. And it would help me get through, the moments where I wanted to give up. I'd carry it on my pocket, and as soon as I felt like giving up or like procrastinating and doing something else, I pulled it out and I read it, and helped me keep going. And I'm probably gonna start doing that again, just to kind of get me on that journey of just being focused, because it's so easy to get distracted, man, and we need to stop getting distracted.
For sure, man. For sure. I mean, there's never not going to be a time in our lives where there's not distractions, but just finding a way to work around that, that's going to make the biggest difference for us, for sure, man.
Yes, man. Definitely is. So let's kind of stick to making this pretty short. I think we already went over the 30-minute, 40-minute mark that we planned on, but let's just stop it and hopefully kind of improve little by little.
We'll go ahead and wrap up here.
Let's wrap up our next episode. Let's talk about that. We have a really special guest. He's one of my biggest mentors, especially this year, 2016. He's been one of the most influential people in my life. It's funny because he has the same name as you. His name is Josh Valdez.
I don't think it's a coincidence, man.
I know, man. It's not, just so I get his name right. His name is Josh Valdez Elizeche or something like that. I don't know how to say that second last name, man, but he's a super cool guy. He's a real deal. He's a young entrepreneur. He's from Phoenix. He grew up here. I think he grew up on the West Valley, just like us, man. And he's a real deal, man. He's a multimillionaire. He's like 22, 23 years old, something like that. And I mean, this dude got his bachelor's degree from ASU, from WP Carey in 2 years, all while building his multi-million-dollar marketing agency, which he just sold recently. And I mean, he right now he runs several internet companies, and just, man, he's been one of the biggest influences in my life, one of my biggest mentors, lately. And he's the real deal, man. So I really look forward to that, and kind of picking his brain and have him inspire all of us, the people watching, sure. You, me. I mean,
yeah, man, I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited myself. You introduced me to this guy via a group that you're involved in, a few maybe a month or two back, and you just basically telling me his story. It's amazing what this guy has done at such a young age, and I feel like it's really cool because I always talk about, you kind of being reachable, and this guy is a reachable person. He's real. Like, he's from here. He's young, and he has owned multiple businesses, but, he's a millionaire. He's a multi-millionaire. He's young, and, there's a lot that we could definitely learn from this guy on our journey.
Yes, man. He's proof that it is possible. That it doesn't matter who you are and how you grew up. I mean, this dude grew up poor. He grew up in the hood in the West Valley, and he got himself out of it, man. And I think it's great. It's great to know that anything is possible. It's what keeps me going. And I hate it because, I started this journey when I was 16 years old, and the difference between me and him is that he took greater action than I did. I mean, yeah, I've gotten, farther in life than most people my age have. But when I compare myself to what he's done and stuff, it's like, wow, man, that's really where I should have been and the type of action that I should be taking, man. But it's never too late. Got to keep going, keep pushing through.
Exactly, man. So, we had a great talk today. Looking forward to the next time we link up.
Absolutely, man. Have a good night.